60 days to go until this summer's World Cup, and this week the focus is, of course, on Nico Paz. He is lighting up Serie A. The Spanish-born Argentine international has 8 caps to his name so far. Argentina have won every game that he's played in. By the way, he scored his first international goal as well during the break. We love watching him week in and week out, but where do you feel, Nige, that he ranks within Argentina, being so young and being them having such a stacked team heading into this summer?
He's got a great opportunity. You know, Lionel Scaloni now is looking beyond and looking for the future of Argentina. And what he likes to build is a real team environment. It's not just what you do and the talent that you have as a player. It's how you fit in the team dynamic. And that's something that you've got to give Scaloni credit to what he's done. But he's got a lot of competition because they do have an abundance of talent and young players, and they've been given the opportunity. So you talk about Nico Paz, and sometimes we look at him and say he's a number 10. But for Argentina, he's played up front in the front three on the right-hand side. He can play that number 10 role. So Lionel Scaloni will use him how he sees fit, depending on the opposition as well. But there's other players there still. You've got Bresciani at Benfica, who's coming through, playing some games. You've got Barco as well at Strasbourg, who was at Brighton, who's played a few different games as well.
Yeah.
But I'll probably say, for me, I look at his biggest competition as probably Almada. Almada, Atletico Madrid, is not playing as much as you would like to, but again, he's another very talented player. And we're probably going to see a list of the other players that are available there as well. You know, you look at that midfield there, that's stacked, it's talent. You know, maybe De Paul might not be in it as much now. Maybe Scaloni might not feel that it's a competitive enough environment for De Paul to maybe be in that national team, but he may have some other qualities there. But Enzo Fernandez, McAllister, you know, Palacios at Leverkusen, he has got a lot of competition to get that starting lineup spot.
I think it's a bit of a double-edged sword, isn't it? Yes, he's so talented and he's with an amazing national team, but also because it's so good, he's got a lot of people standing in his way to really earn his place.
These are the problems that you want, though. Scaloni will be okay with having these problems. And I think when you do win a World Cup with a lot of that group, that midfield, he's probably going to rely on them a little bit more. But to throw Nico Paz inside a game is incredible. It's interesting what Nigel says, and we've been talking off camera, where he really plays, because he's almost like this modern 10. And I say that because if you watch the way that he defends and the way that he presses and the hunger that he has, it's incredible. He's got the work rate of an 8. So I think managers will love that. He's got a head on his shoulders. We've seen him grow during his time at Como and under Cesc Fabregas. So he's a modern player that we've all said it here. We think one day he could become one of the best players in the world. He's got that quality, and he's in a great system. So they'll put him in the right place to succeed.
Yeah, he's a great tool to have for sure. I don't know if he starts, but I will say most managers put on an attacking player with that kind of quality, and they say, okay, fine, we're going to put on this attacking player, but we're going to lose something defensively. We're going to lose something from an attitude perspective. With Nico Paz, you don't. You actually gain a physical aspect. You gain a player who's really smart, mature beyond his years, and can also change the game with his left-footed shot or his left-footed service. So for me, I wouldn't be surprised if he went there and started. He's a different profile from the list we showed. He offers something totally different than those players. And to Nigel's point, when you talk about, it's not just about this tournament, but also the future and getting big games under your belt. I mean, he's primo candidate for that. So I think he's awesome.
Let's also put ourselves in the player shoes for people to understand this, right? You go into the Argentine national side. They just won the World Cup. So if you're seeing the likes of World Cup winners now run around and press and be aggressive, and I've always described the Argentine national team as a pack of wolves, they play for one another. It becomes infectious. So what makes you think someone who hasn't earned the right yet to be a regular starter think you can come in there and have a holiday? No, it's not going to happen. You have to press, work hard, and do the same attributes that the national team does. And it becomes infectious to him, for him, such a young player, to see that these guys have won the World Cup, and I want to be part of it, and I want to win a World Cup too as well myself. And that's why it's a great environment to go into to witness that.
I asked Martin de Roon, who was part of the Dutch national team. He was there when they got knocked out by Argentina in the World Cup. And I said, why does the Netherlands have so many talented players, but you're never able to go over the line? And he referenced to Argentina. He said, we lack that bit of hunger. We lack that little bit of ability to every 50-50 ball, the group, the togetherness. I completely agree with Nigel. That's why you see them at the World Cup. And you see everyone fighting for, last time it was a Messi, but it's also the pride for their country. So it's a great analogy.
And interestingly, interestingly as well, this summer could play a big factor in where he is next season. We know obviously Como would love to keep him. We know the ties that are already there with Real Madrid. Do you think that now, because of the season that Como's had and because of how well he's played, that it really does hinge on whether they make it to the Champions League next season, Grell?
I think that's going to be a huge factor as well, but there's so many variables in this Como project and the players as well. It might not be just his decision. There might be bigger clubs at play. There might be, obviously the board has to make a decision. Is the manager going to be there himself? The next manager that comes in, what's those plans going to look like? So there's so many variables, impossible to predict. But no matter where he ends up, he's going to be a player that for me still can grow, still can get so much better. And he showed me so many things this season that I just think, man, we haven't even scratched the surface with him. I think he's got a lot of quality.
I think especially as well with the younger players in Serie A, or sometimes it feels like the lack of, right, Nico Paz is such an essential point for Serie A. How much of a miss would he be, or how much did the league really need him to stay? The
league need him, but it's also an interesting point you make there, Poppy, because now when you look at Nico Paz and the age he is, play games. That's the most important thing. If whatever decision he makes next, you can't go to a club where you're not going to be playing regularly. You've got such a great thing going on right now at Como. For your value to continue to go up, for you to continue to grow and learn and develop as a player, whatever decision you make, you need to make sure you are playing. You don't want to go to a club where you sit on the bench, because that will stun your development as a player.
Or does he still need to be the guy? Can he afford to go to a club where
he doesn't need to be the guy. He just needs to go and play.
No, I don't think so. No? I think Como have done just as good without him as well. No disrespect to Paz.
He's a talent.
Respect to the project, but he's one of the better guys in the group. But I don't think
they're not relying on him. Yeah. They're not. Yeah. But also, I mean, we're talking about Nico Paz leaving from Serie A. Real Madrid, you can't compete with Real Madrid, any team in the world. When Real Madrid wants a player, they get the player. It doesn't matter who you are in world football. And they have an interesting deal with him. So the reason why Como's able to get such a player is the way that they structure things. So they have a $9 million buyback this summer. And then if they want to wait one more year, they have a $10 million buyback. I agree that you have to take into consideration everything. If Como get into Champions League football, they could have a 50% reduced fee on that. So if they went out and sold him somewhere else, Real Madrid would still keep a percentage. But I think once Real Madrid comes calling and you're a young kid, it might be tough. But you do have to make that.
But you could say, right, I'll come to Real Madrid, but I want to go back on loan. That's what it is. I would say I want to go back alone to play, because you're still owned by Real Madrid. You're getting development and going to Real Madrid and sitting on the bench and not playing any games. I mean, look at Endrick. Endrick was at Real Madrid, the next superstar of Brazilian football. He hasn't played for so long. What do? They send him on loan to get game experience. So that's the thing. You have to be able to understand as a young player now, understand you're not young no more. You're getting to that point where you've got to keep playing week in, week out. You can still have an input into the decisions that's made about your career. You could say, yes, I want to be part of Real Madrid, but I want to play football.